So now that I've tried the Springbank 10-year-old, it's time to try the next rung up the age statement ladder. It's their 12-year offering. But there's one interesting thing about their 12-year offering. They only offer it in a cask strength. Well, I'm not going to complain about that. But it is a bit interesting, isn't it? Well, in the end, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how it tastes. So let's get to it and review the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength Scotch whisky. Welcome to Whisky. I'm John Chidgey, and please remember, drink responsibly, in moderation, and where and when it is appropriate. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, please take a moment now to like and subscribe. Visit engineer.network/whisky without the E to learn how you can support this show. Thank you. Now, I spoke previously about how Springbank are operated in a very traditional way, but how's the distillery put together? Firstly, it's a bit different from most Scottish distilleries. It has a wash still, yes, at a 16,000 litre capacity, but it has two spirit stills, each with 12,274 litres of capacity. That's an interesting and not very round number, that. One is called their number 1 low wines, and the other is called the number 2 low wines, and each is cooled differently. The number 2 low wines and their wash stills both use a shell and tube style of condenser, whereas the number 1 low wine still uses a traditional worm tub. Also different is how they're heated. The wash still is traditionally fired. That's right, fired, as in a fire. They use this to also heat the boiler for steam and then to heat the spirit stills. And the process is, well, it's interesting. They charge and distill the wash in the wash still, nothing fancy there. Then they direct the higher ABV concentrations, the first 20%, to the number 2 low wine spirit still, and the lower ABV low wines, the following 80%, to the number 1 low wine spirit still. That they also call their intermediate still, and that's the one with the worm tub. Once they've redistilled that 80% in the number 1 low wine spirit still, that's then topped up by the heads and tails taken from the number 2 low wine spirit still's previous run, and all of that is fed back into the number 2 low wine spirit still to be distilled, and then the hearts are barreled. Simple, isn't it? Okay, it really isn't, but whatever. It's just what they do. Now, if you want to do the fractions and maths behind all of this, you end up with an effective 2.5x or 2.5 times distillation. Not double, not triple, just Springbank. The resulting spirit is often described as being quite oily and smoky and complex, even for their younger age statements, and that's regularly attributed to this unusual distillation method. Now, the other thing that's interesting to me is that they use the same equipment but just in a different way for their other branded offerings. They all use the same wash still, but for Longrow, the heavily peated offering, they only use number 1 low wine spirit still after that. And that's it. So technically it's only double distilled, which is more standard. Hazelburn, on the other hand, that's unpeated and uses all three in a more traditional sort of Irish style of triple distillation. Same equipment, 3 different configurations, and 3 very different results. I actually think that's really cool. The stills are their tools, and it's not about your tool, it's about how you use it that counts. Anyway, a full-size bottle of this, wait for it, costs $499 Australian for a 700ml bottle from Nick's Wine Merchants Online, plus shipping. What a bargain. The current release, the 26th release, is a whole $100 cheaper, so clearly the cost scarcity thing is in full effect here. It has a 12-year age statement, has a 57.2% ABV, and it's not chill filtered, nor is it coloured. Once again, to note that Springbank don't really break down their whiskies into groups, and considering they're releasing these cask strength 12 years for many years in a row, I think it's safe to call it a core range whiskey at this point. Now, this sample that I have is from the 2024 release, which is batch 25, sometimes called the 25th release, specifically from bottle number 89. And it has a 70% ex-bourbon cask contribution and a 30% ex-sherry cask contribution. It's really important to note that the tasting notes will vary considerably between generations of releases from Springbank, and particularly for this one, the 12-year cask strength. In the 2025 release, they've added 5% of rum casks into the mix, and that's tweaked the flavour profile, as you would expect it to, but that's not what I'm reviewing here today. Okay, 12-year Cask Strength Springbank. This is going to be very interesting. Cracky lid. I'm going to say that is a deep gold color. And as we search for legs, as we like to do, looking for legs. And there they go. Just taken off now. Lots of... They start off slow and then they really pick up pace. Which is just lovely. Alright, let's see what we get on the nose. I can tell that's a high ABV just from the nose. I find it fascinating that some peated whiskies at higher ABVs at cask strength, that the peat doesn't actually present quite as strong. Whereas if it's slightly diluted, it comes out stronger. I find that fascinating. I suppose if the peat smoke is locked up inside some of the molecules, by adding the water, then that will actually release it from those molecules, I guess. But I'm an electrical engineer, not a chemist. It smells meaty. Like, it smells like a roast beef kind of meatiness to it. That's kind of a bit interesting, isn't it? Oh, man. It smells strong. So I'm really only getting a little bit of the peat, and I kind of alluded to this, but it's it smells rich. It smells very... It smells strong. It smells a little bit buttery too. And it smells a little bit like that Campbelltown funk. Like a kind of like that sort of tarry, not tarry, like mineral oil kind of a thing. All right, let's see what we get. Yeah, that is nice. That is, God, I'm a sucker for a good mouthfeel. That is an oily, rich, umami punch. But it's actually a gentle punch. It's not like a smokehead high voltage. My God, that was wrong. But I mean, no, it's kind of it's kind of a little bit like the Corey Vrecken kind of a strong cask strength, with a reasonable. Well, I'd say maybe that's not a good comparison, but it's definitely got a decent punch. You can definitely chew on it if you can't tell. You can hear. The finish on it, I would say, it's moderate. I kind of expected it might be a little bit longer than that, being cask strength, but on the finish you definitely get a bit of that smokiness. It's really interesting though that I'm getting the brininess, the briny, salty notes are actually coming out on the finish, not on the palate, which I got from the Springbank 10 as well. It's kind of delightful, actually. Definitely a little bit of that kind of mineral oil, sort of, some kind of a mineral oiliness to it, I guess. I don't know. That Campbelltown funk. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing. Is there some red apple on that? Yeah, I reckon there's some red apples on the nose, actually. Now on the second nosing. Let's have another crack, shall we? And focus on the palate a bit more. I mean, that is super yummy. It's my kind of whiskey. I like it. It's got this umami earthiness to it. You know, like it's almost a little bit like, it's a little dirty, like dirt. Like, I hate describing whiskeys like that. It makes it sound like I'm eating dirt. I'm not. I'm drinking dirt. I'm not drinking dirt. Maybe, yeah, you know what it's like. If you've ever had salted pistachios, and you peel off the pistachios, and inside there's the green nut, but then there's this little kind of a brown husk. Like, it's not the hard husk on the outside, but that stuff has a very particular taste. And it's weird because I only get that on the finish. Like, it comes through on the finish. It's like that stuff. It's kind of like the pistachio husk. That probably doesn't sound appealing either. But that's the best I got to describing it. And it's not bloody bad. Okay, maybe I'm just influenced because I just, like last week I went through a bag of pistachios. Not in one go, mind you. That would have been digestively questionable. But maybe that's just, I've got that stuck in my head. All right, moving on. I'm also getting that delightful kind of like a caramelized sugar kind of a taste to it as well. And again, I'm also getting some of those, some plums. Not so much cherry on this one though, which is interesting. Could be the ABV on that's drowning that out. geez, it's pretty damn good, eh? So the tasting notes for this particular release. On the nose, marzipan. Didn't get that, but all right. Smoked meats. Yeah, definitely getting that. And smokiness akin to burnt matches. That suggests phosphorus, which I do not get. But that's okay. Anyway, so, all right. On the palate, a smoky, earthy note continues on the palate. Sure, definitely earthy notes. And a nuttiness is introduced in the notes of pistachios. What did I say? Yes! I love it when I can nail a flavour like that. Although, in particularly, although they do say the palate, for me, it was more the finish. And it was not so much the pistachio, but that little husky bit. Whatever. Anyway, notes of caramelized brown sugar. Yeah, I said, whatever. Prunes. Prunes? Yeah, okay. And custard round out this dram. Okay, I half agree with that, but I'm still chuffed about the pistachio thing. On the finish, a sea salt note emerges in the finish along with notes of red apple skin. Red apples, I had red apple on the nose. I would say I half to 2/3 agree with those tasting notes. So taste is subjective, and so is smell and all the rest of it. So here we go let's rank it, and let's just rank it, shall we? So for cost, it is a 4. This is serious money. You buy this, you may need serious help, right? Yeah. Probably, or yeah. Anyway, okay. So, but for the quality on this, I do not have to think hard. This is a 4. It is a low 4, but it is still a 4. This is an amazing drink. It makes me giggle, and honestly, it is just delightful. It's very different. It is distinctively Campbelltown, and I do like it. I am really enjoying this. Maybe I'm just a sucker for a good mouthfeel. Whatever. But anyhow. But for a cost of 4 and a quality of 4, this makes this an orange. So you only really buy this if you are absolutely keen. And I'm not sure how keen I am for $500. That's a solid chunk of change right there. And I can think of other whiskies I would probably get over this for that amount of money. But in any case, it's still pretty bloody good. And Springbank so far, in terms of what you guys make, so far so good. I got 2 to go. And I can't wait. Cheers. I'll see you next time. That's pretty impressive. Like that.